Kevin Sorbo, it is so great to see you here at CPAC here in Orlando. Just delighted to hear about your story. I did not know how you responded to Hollywood not favoring your political views, your conservative views. How did you do it?
Well, my manager and agent took me in their offices and said, we can't represent you anymore because you're conservative, and they let me go on my way. And I kind of said, you gotta be kidding me. You guys all scream about tolerance and freedom of speech. It's all a one-way street with you guys. So I love the industry. I love making movies and TV shows. So I formed my own company, Sorbo Family Film Studios. And I've been shooting over probably about 45 movies over the last 10 years through the connections that I have. So thank God for independent movies. I'm still able to work. I'm still able to have a career. And I'm putting out movies for the most part that are family friendly, whether they're faith-based or whether they just have a good message about love and laughter and hope and redemption and faith. And to me, laughter is the best medicine. And I'm kind of sick and tired of the stuff that's coming out of Hollywood that's just filled with anger and hate. And we see how that plays out. Andrew Breitbart said, politics is downstream of culture, and who runs the culture? Well, Hollywood does. They own the music, they own television, they own music, movies, and television. And look at the kind of stuff's out there. Look at the way the influences it had on our youth across the country. As you see, every major city across America being wiped out by anger and hate, and businesses getting lost, and people getting attacked with baseball bats and tire irons. I mean, it's crazy what we're doing in this country right now. And I'm trying to fight back with having a positive impact on people instead of a negative one.
So, Kevin, it's remarkable what you said. You found that your customer base or the agent base said they didn't want to work for you just because of your exercise of your First Amendment. And instead of being a victim, you said, well, you know what, I'm going to make my own company. So when you said that, it reminded me of a bunch of people I know that are now losing clients, losing customers because they're politically active before the election. But you really have manifested what we're called to do, be independent. So how did you find because at the time, I think you were an actor, then you became really good at being a film producer. I don't even know if I'm speaking out of turn, but how did you transition to go from what you were doing before you got blacklisted to now where you've got a big company producing all this content?
You can't be afraid. I think apathy is the biggest killer in America right now. And too many people on the right are just apathetic about everything. They go, well, what can we do? They own everything. 95% of the media is left. What can we do? What you can do is just start not being afraid. I get cyberbullies all the time. These people that live just pathetic lives. They're probably 38-year-olds that live in their mom's basement, and they're very, very brave, coming after me to attack me and want to take me on. Well, look, I would love to meet them in person, not to pick a fight. I'd love to meet them and say, why do you feel this way? If your life is so perfect, if you have never done anything bad in your life, that you are just an amazing individual, you need to write a book so really horrible losers like me can live the perfect life. Because obviously, the log is in my eye and just a speck is in yours. So let's have a good battle about this in a civil way instead of a negative one. So I tell people, wake up and don't be afraid to try something new. Look, I grew up, I'm the fourth of 5 kids in my family. My dad was a school teacher. We didn't have any money. My clothes are hand-me-downs from my older brothers. But I remember working at this golf course, this private country club, and these guys were very wealthy guys. And I asked them, how did you become wealthy? Every single one of them said, well, Kevin, I failed. And then I failed again, and then I failed again, and didn't I failure stop me? I learned that failure is a positive word, not a negative one. I failed over and over again in Hollywood. Because in Hollywood, you're too young, you're too old, you're too tall, you're too skinny, you're too fat, you're too something. Everything's about rejection. I took every one of those things, and every one of those failures that I had in Hollywood, all of that rejection, and I used it to fuel the fire in a positive way, not a negative one. If you want something, if you want anything in your life, you got to work hard for it. Don't expect hand-me-downs. Get out there and change your life and make it better. Stop being so negative about everything. Make this world a better place. Be strong in a world that's weak.
So, Kevin, if there's a business owner watching this and they've taken it on the chin in whatever way, and they hear you saying, don't be afraid, what else should that business owner do? So they're listening to you, they see that you have demonstrated and walked out what you're asking them to do. What else do you think they need to do?
You know what, everybody's got dreams. You're always going to hit roadblocks in your life. We're all going to hit roadblocks, whether it's financial or health or whatever it may be. You can't blame God, family, friends, in the world. Look in the mirror and say, okay, this has happened to me. What am I going to do about it? You got to think more positive and be a negative. Be aggressive and don't be apathetic. Move on with your lives and try to find something that you want to do and like to do. And you know what? making life work for you is not expected to be easy. God didn't promise an easy life, okay? That's going to come afterward. Right now, live this life to your fullest, and don't be afraid to stick your face out there and make a few crazies insane. It's okay.
You produce this phenomenal media content that builds people up. You're able to do it at a fraction of the budget. Tell me about the business success that your ventures have had. You told me that the investors that invest in your work really have a unique experience on the business side. What's that like?
Every movie that I've been involved with, that I produced, directed, and acted in, we've not lost money for the investor. We do movies in the $3 to $5 million range. That's small potatoes. If you know the business at all, Hollywood does $300 million movies. Okay, so we do movies that you get a percentage back, and that person will own 50% of the movie for the rest of the life of that movie, which will be around forever. Movies. Walt Disney said back in the 50s, movies will influence youth. And look at what's coming out of Hollywood around movies and television. Look how it's influencing our youth. I'm fighting that culture. I'm trying to get America back to a proper way to be living, a proper way that our forefathers wanted for this country. Our forefathers were brilliant. They did not write the Constitution for the time. They wrote the Constitution to withstand the test of time. They're turning over in their graves right now because all we have in Congress right now are lawyers. It was never meant for that. It was meant for farmers and teachers and housewives to be in Congress. Right now it's all lawyers, and they're rewriting history, they're rewriting the Constitution, and we need to fight back. Hey, it's Kevin Sorbo here, and I'm doing a serious shout out for Defend Florida right there. Defend Florida, 474747. Text it now and be part of a positive movement, not a negative one.